Back at the book segment tonight, we haven't talked with former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, in a while. So here he is somewhere in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. You know, the polls roll in today, and, you know, they've got a slight bump for Obama. He's up by about 6 in the Gallup tracking, Rasmussen tracking, and CNN's poll, he's only up by 1. But I don't think this really matters. I think there's so much chaos now with the Palin stuff going on. People don't know what she's going to say tomorrow. Republican convention knocked out for a night because of the storm. How do you see it all?
I think 2 or 3 weeks from now, we're going to be in one of two worlds. Either the elite media will have succeeded in crippling and defining Governor Palin, or she'll be standing firm as a really attractive, articulate, intelligent candidate. If it's the former, I think Senator Obama has a good chance of winning. If it's the latter, I think the Democrats are in for a very long, painful October. And that's why you see the New York Times today with 3 front-page articles attacking Governor Palin. I mean, the media has figured out that she is the greatest threat since Clarence Thomas, because a conservative, professional woman who's attractive is an absolute mortal threat to the left's ability to define and legitimize American politics, and they're going to come after her with everything they can get.
Now, do you believe that the editors of the New York Times, NBC News, other left-wing organizations have a meeting and they say exactly what you said? Look, this is a dangerous woman. We've got to get her. We're going to assign all kinds of hit pieces, place them strategically, try to weave a narrative that she's inexperienced, that she's a dunderhead, that she's an irresponsible mom. Do they consciously make those choices?
Yes. I think that they consciously say that they are infuriated. First of all, that John McCain would get somebody who graduated from the University of Idaho instead of Columbia, Princeton, Yale, or Harvard. Second, that he would get a pro-life mother who, instead of having an abortion, actually voluntarily carried to birth a Down syndrome baby. Third, that she actually is an NRA Life member. I mean, can you imagine if you're hanging out in the New York Times room or the CBS newsroom and you begin to read this stuff, you realize this is, I mean, how can she do these things? I mean, what kind of person can this be? Does she live on Mars? I mean, what's the background here? So I think, yes, I don't think it's like they have a meeting and they say the gathering of the left-wing nutcakes will now come to order. I think they intuitively, instinctively, almost migrate to this. But let me give you one example, Bill, that I found fascinating. I wake up to discover that 22 years ago, her husband, who was 22 at the time, got arrested for driving under the influence. Now, my memory is that at about the same age, Barack Obama was using cocaine and has admitted it. Now, somehow they didn't quite balance those two out. You know, while Barack was using cocaine, her husband had too much beer one night. But if you put it in that context, it's somehow a big different story, isn't it? That wasn't what the headline said today.
You know, it's interesting because there are editorial meetings at these newspapers and at these television stations. I'm not involved with any of them here at Fox News. I know Fox has them. And I'm just wondering whether it's as overt as you're making it. But it would almost have to be, Mr. Speaker, it would almost have to be to place 3 front-page anti-Palin stories on the New York Times on a Tuesday. You would have to orchestrate something like that.
Look, let me give you a simple test that you've been very aggressive about this. You have researchers who could do this. Find out how many reporters have been assigned by the major elite news media to go and read the thousands of pages of documents about the terrorist William Ayer's $49 million foundation that Barack Obama chaired, which has now been made available to the public for about 10 days. See how many reporters they have trying to understand what Barack Obama and an American terrorist were doing together to spend $49 million in public records that are available tomorrow if NBC would like to go cover them. And then ask them, you know, give us the relative investigative numbers. How many are looking into Barack Obama's association with the terrorist? How many are looking into whether or not drunk driving in Alaska 22 years ago really mattered? And you'll begin to understand. These guys are so desperate to discredit her because I'm telling you, if she survives, she's attractive, she's articulate, she is smart, She is tough. She beat an incumbent Republican governor. She beat a former Democratic governor in the general. She beat an incumbent mayor. She was a whistleblower who got a Republican state chairman to resign and pay a $12,000 fine. If she survives, she is a greater threat to the left than Clarence Thomas was, and they know it in their heart.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thanks very much, and we'll see Sarah Palin speak here at the convention tomorrow evening. Pinheads and Patriots is next tonight.